of the alcohol, la 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 la. Just line 'em up and we will drink them all, la 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 la. Well, my mother always said, if you want to drink all day, you best start in the morning, son, 'cause that's the Irish way. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every other mother will agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, and every motherfucker must agree. We don't get drunk, we get awesome, so order up around for you and me, and you and me, and you and me. Let there be whiskey.
Hey, everybody, welcome once again to Nerds with Alcohol. I am Russ.
And I'm Chris.
And this is episode 377, back in the virtual nerd basement. It is a beautiful day, lovely, cool, very nice day here.
Almost fall-like.
Yeah, for sure. Like we got, I don't know what it was, man, but we got some serious, like, cool weather coming, like, scrolling in here.
I'm hearing like background noise.
Yeah, hang on a second. I went to log into Twitch, and for some reason I'd been logged out, so now I'm like trying to log back in, and they're making me do all the different, the different bullshit here. 088. All right. Your account is now more secure. Thanks, guys. What the fuck? All right. So anyway, all right, now I am logged in. Jesus Christ. Anyway, yeah, beautiful day here in Detroit. It was a nice weekend for the most part. I mean, it was a little rainy, but it was weird because it was like spotty rain.
Yeah.
It was I was at Ren Fair working, and it would like rain for 5 minutes. Both Saturday and Sunday it would rain for 5 minutes and be clear for 45, an hour, 2 hours maybe. Then it would rain hard for another 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would clear up for 45 minutes. And you're like, okay, can we put some of this stuff out? And it's gonna, yeah, it looks like it's clear. And you start putting the product out that you brought out of, got out of the rain, and you're like, oh shit, it's raining again. God damn it, and
Yep.
that was what I was dealing with. Less on Saturday, more on Sunday. Saturday wasn't too.
And I saw that on Saturday, not Sunday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Renee and I were at one of her uncles does a family get together every year, this time of year, and that was last Saturday, and we were out at his place. He's out in China Township, so
China Township. Where
yeah,
the fuck is that?
like 26 Mile and like out by the lake. So like east of 94.
Okay.
So we went out there, and the weather was, I mean, temperature wise, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
And
It wasn't, I mean, it wasn't hot, super hot.
no, it was warm, but it wasn't like crazy hot. It was like upper 70s. And we had some shade, so we were sitting out there, and all of a sudden it starts getting a little bit darker.
Yeah.
And we're like, we should move this into the garage. So everyone huddles into the garage.
Mm-hmm.
And it just downpoured. Those that weren't in the garage, he had one of those little carport like tents, like you see people put over their cars and stuff, like the tarp. There's no sides, but it's got the top. Everyone was huddled in the middle of that was out in that to avoid the rain, and then everyone else was in the garage. There was just enough room. Everyone's kind of crammed in, and then the rain stopped, and we went back out, and I set up my chair and went to start eating, and all of a sudden, drip, drip, drip. I'm like, oh shit, it's starting to rain again. I grab my stuff and go underneath the little tent thing, and it just started pouring again for like another 5 minutes, and then it was done for the day.
Yeah, see, Sunday it was like on and off, but it was, like I said, it wasn't long rain showers, but there were a few that were pretty hard, but it would last just long enough for us to be like, well, we better pull. And I'm working at a cart, basically a good sized cart, and we've got to pull the leather work under the coverage, and so it would be, and then it would stop raining, and there would just be enough for us to go like, all right, maybe it's time we could put it back out, and then it would start raining. And it was like, finally, thankfully, by the end of the, like maybe the last couple hours of the day, the rain had cleared up. We didn't have to worry about it as much, but it was still just like fucking frustrating. we're all like, man, can't it just like rain for an hour, 90 minutes straight, and then be done? Can we just be done after like an hour? That didn't happen. So, otherwise, so
Well, that was the other thing. The sun would come out between the rain too, so it's
yeah,
like
that was the other
it's like,
thing,
oh
right.
look, it's nice.
Yeah. And then at fair, it was just enough to be like, oh, now it's a little muggier now.
Yeah.
You know,
A little muggier, a little muddier.
oh yeah. But I will say, that being said, as we get into how was your week, it was nice to be home. It was nice to go home. You know, for everybody, anybody that watches this knows I've been working at Renfrew for most my entire adult life, really, and been at least a part of the Renaissance Festival for that entire time. And this will be 31 years, and the place
Time
is
to
my home
retire.
for all its warts.
Get your pension.
Oh, for all its warts and all the problems and trials and tribulations, it's my home, you know. So I did have to do. So anyway, it was just nice. It was nice to see everybody, see my friends, see whatnot. We did have to go through a basic background check. That was kind of a new thing. Everybody has to fill out this thing, and it cost $20 too, which I was like, what the fuck? But apparently it's being reimbursed to us, from the fair. And
ACD.
just a basic one, just to make sure you don't have any outstanding warrants or anything. And anything like
Also, now your information is in that big thing that got stolen
probably
from all the
well,
background
no,
information.
because I just did it like yesterday, so it's already been stolen, so mine's safe.
Well, until the next time.
At least until the next time, yeah. So, but yeah, and then we also have to. Everybody is required to watch a sexual harassment video.
That's your fault.
How to watch that? How to sexually harass people?
Isn't that part of fair? I mean, I understand.
Well,
I understand. That used to be a big part of it. I mean,
it's funny, right? It's funny because we were actually discussing that about how it's one of the greater examples of how so many things have changed.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that over the last 20, 30 years, we've seen.
Hey, Ochipo.
Hey, Jibo.
You didn't say hi to CD when I said hi to CD. So,
but anyway, yeah, it's interesting to note like how things have changed. I mean, having started off at the festival in 1993 and seeing like now just like back then the jokes that we could make and the comments and the straight up like sexual innuendos that were dropped all the time, and now not so much.
Well, the world's changed,
right? Absolutely, the world has very much changed. And when you really think about it, it's 30 fucking years. It's 3 decades. That's roughly 2 generations have gone by there. And our own, and then also the millennials, and we're into Gen Z and Alpha, and so things have changed a lot and rather dramatically, and for some of us who have been there throughout the entire time, it's a little weird because we have had to adjust our language and the way we entertain and the way we do things.
Yep.
A lot of entertainers that have been doing it since that beginning and are still doing it have had to adjust the way they do things. So
well, hey guys, thanks for joining us while you're out.
Oh wow. Okay, Jipo.
Well, yeah, he's in Washington DC. CD's camping.
Oh no shit. Oh. Start with the furries. Dude, the furries. That's a big one. I mean, just like cosplay. Cosplay is another thing. I mean, that's the other thing. It isn't just our language. It isn't just the jokes and the comments and the political correctness and stuff like that. It's the community, or it's the habits of people. People have always dressed up to come to the Renaissance Festival, and even in my early days, we'd still see people that would wear, hey, this would be funny to wear a Starfleet uniform or a Klingon costume or whatever, and we used to get that. But now we get all kinds of cosplay at the Renaissance Festival because so many people, they work really hard on their costumes and then they don't have very many places to wear them. So hey, the Ren Fair. Let's wear my,
Steampunk.
steampunk.
I know.
One
I know. There's a steampunk day. Usually, there's a steampunk take over the Renaissance Festival day.
usually Wonders of the World's weekend.
Yeah.
There is a big steampunk
Contingent. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of superhero costumes, and I'm not talking about Ren Fair superhero costumes. I mean,
Shit.
Deadpool.
You do enough superhero costumes. Like.
Sure. I mean, I have my Ren Fair superhero costumes, but I actually, at least when I did that, I was like, I want them to be, Renaissance Fest, appropriate. Personally, I'd love to have them remade now, at least Green Lantern and my Superman pirate coat, just to be a little more, just because they're kind of wearing out.
Was Green Lantern just the tabard?
Yeah, it's pretty much, it's a tabard with an attached, it's a tunic with an attached cape.
Oh, is it actually a full shirt?
Yeah, it's a tunic. It goes over,
Well, the tabard's what goes over a shirt.
Well, yeah, it's a knight. I call it a knight's tabard. So yeah.
Yeah.
It goes over my shirt, and it has an attached like cape that attaches at my back shoulder here. And
I couldn't remember if it had the cape or not.
Yeah. So, and then I got my musketeer tunic, which is my Shazam musketeer tunic, and that's probably the one that's in the best shape. But it's just, like I said, it just was wild. I mean, it's just, and even casually, the things that you can and cannot say to women, what's considered appropriate and what's not. There's just so much, and that has changed. It was just, it was basically me and 3 other old timers, and that's crazy to me that I am an old timer, sitting around going, well, back in my day, remember back in the day when we used to be able to do, comment on a woman's titties, that kind of thing. And it was just, and now if you do, you open yourself to potential cancellation, and then again, at the same time, there are still people that are, even in the younger generations, that are still like, enjoy like body humor and enjoy like that kind of thing. And it's just, to stave off any chances of
the one type of joke that'll never go away is fart jokes.
Sure, fart jokes are always funny. But yeah, it's just like to stave off any ideas of any chances of litigation or anything.
And it's
basically went, no.
And the thing is that's not a bad thing. I mean,
it's not.
The world changes, again, and let's treat people with respect.
Right. Not a bad thing. It was just, we just were remarking about it. It's just wild how much it has changed. And then there are the people that do like gripe about the changes, thinking, oh man, it was better back in the day. And I don't think it was better. It was just different. And there are definitely I can see the frustration that some like comedians have, and some entertainers particularly, where they're like, well, I can't make those jokes anymore, And I can certainly understand that frustration, because it's easy, crass humor is very easy comparatively, so but anyway, we can move on. How was your week? How was your week? You just heard mine. How was your
week? My week was good. We had our game on Friday.
We did.
That was fun.
Another heavy RP session. So yeah, it was good.
And you guys made it to Citadel Amarindar.
Amarindar.
And
say that 10 times fast.
No. And you got some info. You did a few things. It was kind of cool. Bennick commissioned a weapon.
And
yeah, so that was a good time. And then Saturday, like I said, Renee and I went to her family's get together, and that was a good time. And then Sunday was the opening of the EPL season. So Renee and I went up to Royal Oak Brewery and watched Chelsea, unfortunately, lose. But it was a good game. They played well-ish.
Cool.
And we'll see how they do throughout the year. They got a new coach, so they're They're still learning the new style or the new system, I think. So it'll take them a while. But I mean, it's a 40 game season, so one game at the beginning of the year isn't gonna make or break the season.
Right on.
Especially when it's against the champions of the league who have won the league like 5 out of the last 6 years or something like that, or 4 out of the last 5 years, something. But yeah, so that was a good time. Other than that, it's been work. Had a nice day for golf last week, so that was cool. Actually got to get out and golf. All good. This week's gonna be pretty cool too. This weekend, well, I got to work on Sunday, but Saturday we're going to Royal Oak Brewery for the Royal Club brunch because we're members of the Royal Club there, and
right on.
They're doing an Italian like lunch theme thing. I'll be having sausage rigatoni.
Sausage rigatoni. So you're having sausage. You're having pasta with sausage.
Yeah, rigatoni pasta.
Right.
But yeah, and I think Renee's getting a meatless lasagna.
Okay.
But yeah, other than that, same old.
Right on.
So what are you drinking?
Well, tonight, I haven't had one of these in a while, and as you are aware, I am a fan of strawberry, and so I was like, why not give a Mike's Hard lemonade one a try? Gotta love these. Now, Mike's Hard, of course, was one of those things that came out probably in the early 90s, mid 90s, where we're like, oh, an alternative.
Jeepo's not a fan, I guess.
Yeah. Before it was before the cider explosion and before the mead explosion where things got ciders and meads came out. And so if you're drinking a Mike's Hard lemonade instead of a beer, it wasn't necessarily at the relatively acceptable.
At the time, the only real cider that I remember was Woodchuck.
Now, Woodchuck and Woodpecker were the only
Woodpecker
cider
you couldn't find except at Fair,
Rare.
really.
It was at Fair, and City Club had it.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Mm-hmm. City Club had it. It was very rare to find.
It was the meatless lasagna that you were saying. Ooh, too.
Yeah, I don't get it either. But it was just the standard like Mike's Hard Lemonade for the longest time, and they started coming out with variations on it and whatnot. So anyway, I saw this one. Wow, that's so weird.
It's
in this light on the camera it looks orange, but it's actually quite pink.
Yeah, it looks orange to me. Yeah,
that's so weird. Huh?
And the label looks kind of very red.
So the label's red, definitely.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, the drink on camera looks orange. That's so fucking strange. I wonder why that is.
Huh.
I mean, my camera isn't particularly.
It's a trick of the light and the way that it's going through it, and I don't know. There it looks. It looks kind of pink there.
A little pinkish there. Weird. Anyway, so I've had a couple of sips. Let's give it a go. Let's give it a go here.
That's one I haven't had. First time I ever actually had Mike's was in 1998 in Toronto.
The fact that you remember the exact date.
Well, it's because I was there for New Year's. It was 98 to 99. I was at the nightclub at Medieval Times celebrating New Year's.
Oh, okay.
The Night. Knight.
Yeah. All right. Interesting. This is not bad. It's very sweet, which, is to be expected when it comes to strawberry flavored things. I would buy it. I'd buy it again. It's definitely not bad. But like I said, very sweet, and you can also taste that. You can definitely taste that lemon, still that lemon in the back. It's definitely that tartness to it.
Well, it should be a lemonade with like some strawberry flavor.
Well, that's the thing. The strawberry flavor is very strong in the front,
which strawberry very easily does. Strawberry can overpower anything.
Oh, exactly, and it's kind of what it's doing here. And then it hits you in the back with a little bit of the lemon, but it's not bad at all. I mean, it's just, but if you don't like sweet stuff, I mean, it's like drinking alcoholic Kool-Aid. This is a very, very sweet drink. I like it, and I would definitely buy this again.
So
So yeah,
who
Mike's
who was
hard
drinking
strawberry lemonade.
Zimas, Ojipo?
I don't.
Russ?
I had Zimas occasionally, but I was not. I mean, Zima came out right around when I turned 21. So like it was
I remember those from the 90s because one of my buddies loved them. I'm like, oh, I can't stand this shit. Zima tastes like shit.
It really didn't. It really was not a good drink. They brought it back a few
Yeah, they
years,
did. Yep.
and
I found it and I sent it to my buddy. And
wow.
I sent a picture of it to my buddy. I said, "Hey, look what's back!" And he went, "Ooh!" And I'm like, "Oh no!"
Yeah,
Sorry,
no.
I interrupted your thing about it because of the drinking Zimas.
Yeah, I never got into. I mean, like I said, I drank it a couple of times when it came out because again, that was one of those early malt beverages that people were trying to put out that would or you'd be an alternative to beer um that wasn't like
A wine cooler.
a wine cooler, right? Exactly, and because wine coolers were actually fairly high in alcohol content, they would fuck you up pretty quick, and I think they were looking for something that was a little more beer level of alcohol that wasn't beer, and that's what like Zima and things like this became. And like what was it? Something ice. It was
Smirnoff Ice.
Smirnoff Ice, things like
Yeah,
that.
those are still out.
And those are still around, yeah. But Zima was
Matter
one
of
of
fact,
the first.
Ojibo just said Smirnoff Triple Black was my kryptonite.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It was one of those things that was just like uh one of those early ones, just like Jack Daniels had those little coolers and stuff.
Yeah, those came out a little bit later though.
A little bit later.
Yeah.
So
The
this is
Lynchburg
not bad,
lemonade.
though. The Lynchburg lemonade, right? Exactly. Because I was working in like an Italian party store back then, which sold the liquor store plus pizza joint, whatever, and that was my job. I stocked the coolers. It's really this is pretty good, but again, if you don't like sweet stuff, you probably won't like this. This is a very sweet drink. So Mike's hard strawberry lemonade. What are you drinking?
With it being kind of a fall day, I found this over the weekend and picked up a 4-pack. It is the Dragon's Milk Reserve S'mores from this year. It just came out. It is this year's version. I have the previous 2 iterations of this, I believe, sitting downstairs aging. I may have to crack some of those open and compare them to this new one. It is 11% ABV. It's a bourbon barrel aged stout with chocolate, toasted marshmallow, and graham cracker and natural flavor.
Definitely sounds like a dessert beer.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a stout. It's dark, as it should be. On the nose, you get a lot of I get the graham cracker and a little bit of the bourbon, but mostly the graham cracker. And then on the taste, I'm gonna take a little sippy here. You get a lot of the s'mores taste. I mean, there's definitely some chocolate. You get the graham cracker. My issue is that the graham cracker kind of lingers and it's kind of cloying on the tongue. Otherwise it's really good. It's just a little, I think it might just be that it's a little too sweet for me. Generally, and that may go down a little bit as it ages a little.
Okay.
So just even a couple months from now, that might go down. Because I mean, this was barreled or bottled on 4/30, so April 30th. So this was actually bottled 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 3.5 months, something like that. Yes, I said Dragon's Milk, CD. Yep, that's what I'm having is the s'mores, man. But yeah, I mean, I'd give this probably a 3.5 out of 5. It's good, but just a touch too sweet for my taste. Maybe it'll get better as it goes, but it's that cloyingness at the back of my tongue that I don't like. But yeah, So let's see. What's CD put
Alrighty.
what he's having? Honey's peanut butter and golden ale from Oliphant. Real good. 4.5 out of 5. 5.6% yum. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you guys as far as Mike's goes. I like Mike's, but it does give me heartburn if I have too many of them. It's very, very acidic.
It is.
And that's my problem with a lot of those. It's the same thing with sour beers. Sour beers are so acidic, especially the lactose sours that I actually like. They're so acidic that I can only have like one. Otherwise, I really start getting like heartburn and stuff. Although I blame Mike's for my first marriage.
Your first marriage?
Yeah.
You blame Mike's for your first marriage?
Yeah, I got hammered with the night that I actually asked Kelly out.
Oh,
Mike,
the first time you got out, you asked her out. Okay.
Yeah, Wiggins had a party ball filled with Mike's Hard Lemonade and Captain Morgan's. It was a deadly combo. We found out that the two went great together, and that just made an alcoholic abomination that it will fuck you up fast. And you put that shit in a great big old Jose Cuervo party ball, and you're just sitting there pumping and not realizing how fucked up you're getting.
Oh, that's funny, man.
So what do you want to start with? Because I came up with something else that we were going to talk about that neither one of us mentioned that I forgot.
So I got some quick ones here.
Yeah, let's go through some quick ones because the two that I think we really want to talk about are going to take a little bit.
Right, exactly.
Well, let's talk. Well, actually, first let's just say, this isn't a nerd genre death, but it is there was a celebrity death that goes back to my childhood. And it was Phil Donahue just died. Now,
88.
In all honesty, I thought he was older than that, and I thought he died years ago. I didn't realize he was still alive. But Phil Donahue is, if you don't know, for you younger folk, Phil Donahue is the really the like godfather of daytime TV talk shows. He was the one that started it all with a real talk show, not like a Maury Povich type of thing.
Well, it was funny. You could always tell when Phil was when it was Sweeps Week, because that was the weeks. Those were the weeks that he would have the more salacious guests. He would have the male strippers or the female strippers or the adult stars.
See, I don't remember him having any of those.
Yeah, he definitely did. He had or he would talk to the doctor that was pioneering breast enhancement surgery, or he would have like, maybe some bigger like some bigger like movie or television stars, but he was a great talk show guy because he had politicians on, he had economists, and
he would ask tough questions too.
Yeah, he did. He would bring on like people that it wasn't just like it was never really like Jerry Springer, where you've got just people like screaming and crying about their you cheated on me kind of situation,
or in this envelope I have the information on the paternity test.
Yeah, exactly. You are not the father. And Maury Povich. Maury Povich has become known for that. But Phil Donahue, I remember watching Phil Donahue occasionally with my mom if I was home from school or something.
My mom always watched him.
Or during the summer, if you got up at it, if you were up and about, if you're watching TV at the time.
He was a morning host too. He was on like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning.
It was generally in the morning, and then he was usually followed by somebody that maybe was a little more local, or a different show that was a little more local, or whatnot. Can't remember where he was out of, but when he retired,
I thought it was New York. It might have been Chicago, but I thought it was New York.
Well, no, Oprah was out of Chicago.
Oprah was later though.
Well, Oprah started while Phil was still on the air. But
Right, but it was later.
oh yeah, no, I mean it was only like she was only on for like 2 or 3 seasons before when Phil
Oh, Auntie
retired.
Dawn said Chicago, then New York.
Okay.
I thought he was in Chicago at one point.
Yeah. And that's the thing, she was Oprah started, she came on and kind of like took a lot of his audience. Like she was climbing the charts very quickly. And I think that's one of the reasons why Phil Donahue might have stepped aside or retired when he did, because he was like, I see the writing on the wall. Because that's the thing. When he retired, they had a special like tribute show for him where they got all of the like talk show guys that were on at the time, all of these competitive ones like Geraldo and Sally Jesse Raphael and Jenny Jones and Jerry Springer, and they all kind of did this tribute show, and Oprah was on it, but she was on it via video feed. She didn't actually show up, and it was interesting because at one point there was a part where each of them said something like, "I owe it all to you, Phil," or "Without if you weren't here," something like that. And when it was Oprah's turn to say that, she didn't say it. She was like,
"Hey, Auntie."
Yeah, hey, Auntie. It's thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, I actually just looked it up, and actually, yeah. So Phil Donahue was in Chicago from 74 to 85, and then in New York from 85 to 96. Oprah started in 86.
Oh, okay. So that was like, bam. They were just making. Yeah. It's like
he left Chicago. Like, she started.
Okay. It's like time for me to go. That kind of thing. So yeah, he retired and he married Marlo Thomas, and he'd married her beforehand, and a lot of people had kind of encouraged him to maybe go into politics, but I remember my mom saying he would never like get to the presidential level because he was just too damn liberal. And my mom's a liberal. And I think she even used those terms. She's like, "Yep, he's just too liberal." But anyway, yeah, it's sad to see him go, but he definitely left an indelible mark in our culture going out.
He actually started in Dayton, Ohio.
Yeah. And he ran from like the early 70s all the way to like
67 is when he started in Ohio.
Excuse me, the mid 60s. So yeah.
Yeah. So
hey. To Phil Donahue.
Yeah. All right, now go ahead. Okay.
So a bunch of things. There's some shit. Oh, Starfield, the Bethesda video game that I've been playing the hell out of lately. Available on Xbox and on PC. Dropped a huge like a big update today. Have released vehicles. You wouldn't be able to land vehicles anyway. For the longest time, you land on a planet and you got to run everywhere. And
I can't believe that it took them a fucking year to introduce land vehicles. I'd be pissed having to run everywhere.
Mm-hmm. I think that, well, you had like jetpacks and stuff, but yeah, there were definitely times when you're like, oh, that thing's a mile and a half away and I got to run all the way, or a kilometer and a half away.
Auto run, go grab a drink.
Yeah, we couldn't do that, but they're like I said, they're jetpacks, and then depending on the gravity of the planet, I mean, you could jump pretty good distances and stuff. But it was one of the big complaints about Starfield is that the game felt unfinished. There was a lot of promises that were made, but if you've been playing Bethesda games like Fallout and Skyrim and things like that, you kind of what you're getting into. You're getting into a game that is good, has a lot of potential, but probably won't reach its full, like, seriously good potential until maybe a year into the game, after they've patched the hell out of it, and they've maybe released some expansions or some.
So there's no reason to buy a Bethesda game when it first comes out, but wait a year.
There are a lot of people that feel like, yep, wait a year. Let them, or 6 months at the very least. Don't get it when it first comes out. Wait 6 months. And there were also things they said, like things like, oh, there's gonna be 1,000 planets that you can explore. There are 1,000 planets, but some of them are gas giants. You can't explore gas giants, and some of them are moons. which you can land on pretty much all the moons, but a lot of them are just, it's just a fucking rock with, that you can maybe mine for stuff, there are a lot of planets that you can set up colonies on or outposts at the very least. It's the thing about this game that I feel a little frustrating is, and that's the other thing too, like a lot of people once mods are released and then the community gets involved, the game can be so much better. The frustrating thing for me is that I can see this incredible potential that this game has. And I have been playing it. I'm like 350 hours in, and I haven't finished my first playthrough yet. There's huge amounts of potential for this game, but it is going to be a couple years before we see that full potential. But anyways, the vehicles have landed. I haven't played it yet. It just I just did downloaded the update and it patched it, so I'll probably check it out afterwards. The then they did also announce that the first big DLC called Shattered Space will be coming at the end of September 30th. And a lot of people were hoping end of this month, maybe early September, but end of September, cool. Now, a lot of people are also predicting that this DLC will be adding a whole lot of like story element and whatnot, but it will also be adding more ship parts, because they have one of the coolest parts of Starfield is being able to, build your own ships and design your own spaceships and stuff. And you can also design and you can design all of your outposts, and there are different apartments and homes you can buy throughout the different systems. So there's there's that. But yeah, that's the thing. They keep there's things in this game that they're like, all right, humans have been out in the space for like 300 years. Why are there not more big cities? Why is there only like maybe 3 good sized cities, 3 maybe 4 good sized cities, and a bunch of smaller towns? After 300 years, some of these cities were pretty substantial, so there's a lot of hope that this add-on, this DLC, will be adding not just content in storyline, but also like more just tweaking the game itself to make it a little just removing some of the problems. There's one of the big problems is there's about 20 different, like they call them POIs, points of interest, and some of them are like an abandoned mine, a working mine, a listening outpost, or basically a monitoring outpost, different things like that. They're all the exact same layout. Like, I mean, they're different layouts for the different categories, but you'll encounter these same things on different planets. It's the exact same layout, the exact same shit, like on the tables for you to pick up. I mean, they'll have like, you're gonna find a weapon right here. It's a different weapon than in other places, but there's a weapon right here. There's gonna be food on this table. There's going to be, other resources in these various, places. And so they're hoping that that they maybe expand that as well. So we'll see. At the very least, it is a good game. I mean, Bethesda in my opinion, doesn't make bad games. They just make games that are usually not quite finished when they're released. And but like I said, Skyrim wouldn't be one of the most successful video games of all time, and one of the most heavily played and heavily ported video games of all time, if it wasn't a good game. It's a good fucking game. It just took a while to get there. And the same thing with, although I would say Skyrim was probably one of the best, because it was part of a long-standing franchise, the Elder Scrolls. I would say Skyrim was probably the one out of all of them more recently that was probably the best out of the box. I'm sure it was still a little buggy, but it was still the best out of the box. A lot of people feel like Fallout 4 needed a little time, and Fallout 76 definitely needed time. Fallout 76 is an amazing game now. It's fucking fantastic. There's tons of content. There's a lot of people playing it.
And it got so panned when it first came out.
It did. Well, it was fucked. It was they tried something that didn't work with the way they set that game up. And thankfully, they fixed it within like 6 months. They had changed things around and it was a lot better. And now it's like ridiculously popular thanks to the TV show, reigniting interest, and in all honesty, thanks to Bethesda fixing the game. So anyway, that is one thing. Another game news for me anyway. I tried the game. It is called. Let me grab it. See it real quick right here again. Where was it? Where did I put that? Oh, Crime Boss Roque City. I got it it was on super sale on Steam. I was originally going to pick it up for my PlayStation because it's the kind of game I'd rather play on my PS5. And it's basically a knockoff of a simpler version and knockoff of Grand Theft Auto to some extent. But the interesting thing is it's got a bunch of very recognizable mocapped actors in it. It's got Michael Madsen, Kim Basinger. It's got Vanilla Ice, Chuck Norris, Danny Trejo, Danny Glover, like a bunch of really like you see them and they're like, holy shit, what are they? Oh, Michael Rooker. Anyway, it's you play a crime boss, and that you are basically trying to take over the city and commit crimes. You got to do robberies and stuff like that. So you're set up with missions, and you're set up with like companion characters that can go with you. It's fun. It's interesting. It's also like if you die and you got to start over, your character that your account basically keeps going up in levels, and you keep that level. So when you try starting again, because it's a difficult game, it's not like you can take a million bullets and still get up. If you take a couple of shots, you're dead. So anyway, tried that game. It's interesting. Don't pay full price for it. No, seriously, get it on sale maybe, and it's a game you can like play for a little while, walk away from.
Okay.
I still haven't tried, but yeah, like I said, kind of entertaining. I haven't played Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League yet. Again, picked that up for free actually through Amazon Prime Gaming. It's sitting on my computer here. I haven't picked it up, played it yet, but I have watched happened to watch a lot of like clips from like the cutscenes and stuff that look kind of entertaining. The things that I've heard about it that people didn't like was the gameplay, the microtransactions, and honestly, sometimes I think some people just didn't like the storyline of, the Harley Quinn, Boomerang, King Shark, and Deadshot having to take out and kill the Flash and Green Lantern and Superman and Batman. So, I'm still going to try that one, but I have not yet had the chance. Also, we have a Marvel Comics for Dummies book. Do you remember the For Dummies books, the big series of Dummies books? Well, apparently Marvel for Dummies will be coming out soon. It basically breaks down 85 years of comic book lore into an accessible primer aimed at getting more people into the Marvel universe. Let's see. Marvel Comics, the aforementioned Marvel Comics for Dummies book, kicking off a series of Marvel-related books in the Dummies line. So there will be actually individual books. Captain America for Dummies is the first one that will be coming out. And both Marvel Comics for Dummies and Captain America for Dummies go on sale in February of 25. There was something else on Amazon that I saw that I think I wanted to bring up. Let me see here real quick. I think I put it on my wish list just so that we can talk about it. Wish list. Well, of course, Outlaws comes out. Star Wars Outlaws comes out.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
End of the month. We could talk about that
next
in a
week.
bit. Right. Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Also, the new Dragon Age game will be coming out in October, I believe they had said. Let me see. I had that one on my phone. Where was it? No. Anyway, I think I somewhere else. But yeah, Dragon Age: The Veilguard is the new Dragon Age game. People have been really, really excited for that. Yep, October 31st, so Halloween for that one. I'm actually pretty excited. The things that I've seen for it seem pretty cool. Oh, here it is. So coming in, I think it's in March. Yes, March 4th. Vox Machina Stories Untold. It will be a hardcover book that will feature short stories featuring the secondary and supporting characters of Vox Machina. So within its pages, Sean Gilmore reflects on life. He has the life he has chosen as told by Abria Iyengar. Rayshawn, racked by a pestilent curse, plots to release the Cinder King from his fiery prison, as told by Rory Power. Trinket the Wonder Bear accompanies the next generation of Vox Machina on their first adventures, as told by Sarah Glenn Marsh. Plus 7 more hilarious, heartbreaking, and heroic tales featuring Kaylee, Dodie, Kevdak, and more. So then it's going to be the forward is by Liam O'Brien. I don't know. Sounds like that's going to be pretty cool. A bunch of short stories. It will also be on the Kindle, and there'll be an audiobook version as well.
Cool.
Yeah. I think I'm good for now.
All right. Well, today there was an announcement that Borderlands 4 will be coming out next year, and they announced it with a teaser trailer, which looks pretty fucking badass, honestly.
See, I've never gotten into the Borderlands games, mainly because, I mean, yes, there is a storyline to it, but it seems to me just very much a run around. And
they call it a shoot and loot.
It's a shoot and loot game, and I like games that are have a little more teeth to them story wise. Although I do have Tiny Tina's Wonderland, which is a spin-off of that thing. I haven't played it yet.
I actually haven't played any of the Borderlands games, but I've always wanted to. And yeah, you're right, CD. The movie is getting panned.
Yeah, like terrible reviews. Its Rotten Tomatoes is in the fucking toilet. And this is a movie with a pretty beefy cast. You got Jack Black, you got Kevin Hart. I mean, there was a bunch of people in this movie that then you were like, oh, this is probably gonna be all right.
All right, yeah. So the tomato meter is 10%.
Yeah, holy crap.
And the audience score is 53%.
53. Last time I checked, it was 50. So, so the audiences are kind of like, it's all right, or it was kind of funny. I think a lot of people were upset that it didn't follow the lore of the game as well as they would have liked.
Hey, CD, I'm going to say, go ahead and retype that because I know what you were trying to say, but it came out wrong, and I'm going to go ahead and deny that one. So, but yeah, like Madam Web bad is what he was saying.
Whoa, okay. Sorry, phone typing my post going to be worse. Is Madam Web bad, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
well, that's too bad. But that's the thing. Gamescom is going on now, right?
Yeah.
Now. I think today was the opening night live of Gamescom. And they did a bunch of announcements. I'm going to roll through a few of them right here. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is officially coming to PS5 next spring after a December launch on Xbox and PC. So the new Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which is being made by Bethesda, will be coming to PS5.
So wait 6 months to a year to get it.
Right.
We just talked about
that. That's the thing. This is a different type of game, though. Bethesda, ZeniMax, Bethesda's making it, and it's not a RPG in the same sense as, Starfield or Skyrim or Fallout 4. So it probably won't be quite as buggy. The collector's edition comes with 3 days early access and the conspiracy theory covered globe. So that should be interesting. I'll definitely get an Indiana Jones game for sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
PS5. Borderlands 4 has been revealed. It's out in 25, like you'd said. PC, PS5, Xbox Series XS, X and S. They're already saying it already has something that the Borderlands movie PG-13 rating doesn't. The promise of intense violence or gore. Okay. There's some new Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred let's see, some new patching for that. They announced again the Starfield, the vehicle thing, and the date of the Shattered Space DLC. New Monster Hunter Wilds trailer revealed the scariest spider boss the series cooked up in 20 years. So like the new Monster Hunter game. I've heard good things about those games, but again, just
I have
haven't
two.
seen it.
No, nothing I've ever wanted to play.
There was recently more information about the new Fable game, but I can't remember where I saw that. Marvel reveals Captain America and the Winter Soldier and confirms its leaked December release date. Let me put this one up. Oh, they're joining Marvel Rivals. Okay, I haven't gotten into Marvel Rivals. It's basically, from what it looks like, it looks like it's a run around shoot 'em up game with Marvel superheroes. Like what was the one from Blizzard? The one capture the flag, kind of run around, shoot each other. I'm blanking on it right now from Blizzard.
I don't know which one you're talking about. I mean, there was the big ones from Blizzard are Warcraft, World of Warcraft, StarCraft. Those are your build your bases and go out and battle each other.
Yeah. Hang on. It'll
Oh, you're talking about Planet Side?
No.
Oh, no, wait. Planet Side was Sony.
No. Overwatch.
Oh, Overwatch. Yeah.
And
Okay.
Overwatch 2 were, and that's what
the team shooters.
Yeah, team shooters. That's what this Rivals game seems to be. It's basically created. You've got superheroes and supervillains and variations thereof, and you make groups, and then or you take you choose one and whatever. I mean, it looks kind of cool, but I'm just kind of like, I'm playing enough things right now.
Wait, you're gonna pass out a Capes game?
Shut up. There's also Dune Awakening finally drops the veil on proper gameplay footage. It's a survival MMO set in the world of Dune, so on Arrakis. That's going to launch in early 25. Let's see, Path of Exile. So that's so far. Those are the main things that have been dropped. There's a bunch of other things. Civ 7. Forgot about this one. Civilization 7. Big fan. I've always loved the Civ games. It's been 8 years since Civilization 6 came out. Still a really solid version of the game. Civ 7 comes out will release on February 11th, and for the first time, it will be releasing on both PC and console at the same time. Usually, it releases on PC first, and then you get a console version like a year later. This time, both versions. Personally, that's the kind of game I like sitting at my computer to do. So yeah, I think that's it. Sorry. What do you got?
Yeah, so there's some TV news.
Yeah.
Star Wars The Acolyte has been canceled. No season 2. So that show was completely set up for season 1 to be a lore building, and then season 2 to really get into it, and it backfired on them. Yeah. I guess they're saying that this could be a good thing. This could show that Star Wars, maybe Marvel and Star Wars or Lucas are listening to the fans more, because that got panned, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. I'm interested because there's lots of rumors that Darth Plagueis was in it, and he was in the background and in this one scene, and that we wanted more of that, and I don't know.
I still haven't watched it. I'm sure I will eventually. I just haven't got a chance to get around.
But so we'll never get to see any of that. There's already, I see a bunch of people online going, oh no, we need to save it, save this show, and I'm like, no, we don't really need to save this one. As much as I'd like to see what happened, because they did leave it as a complete cliffhanger. They had planned on this being a multi-season thing. It did not end on a good. Okay, we can just end it there. It's definitely a one of those. they're gonna end it, and yeah, we got no closure.
So that sucks. Now, hopefully, maybe they'll make a movie or something that'll give us a little,
Yeah,
or even if it goes
maybe.
direct to Disney Plus, they'll make something that will allow the actors, the creators, and whatnot to finish that up. That would be nice.
Yeah. Along with that, Rings of Power season 2 starts next Thursday. Or Friday, one of the two, the 29th, whatever day that is.
Yeah, it's another show I haven't had a chance to get to yet.
Next Thursday.
Being the fan of fantasy that I am, and as much as I do enjoy the Lord of the Rings, I mean, there's just so many things to watch. I just haven't gotten to it yet, but definitely we'll be getting to that. It looks gorgeous.
It is. It really is. And it's not a bad show. It's a little slow at times, but it's not a bad show.
It is a show based on Tolkien, so
yeah. And then also there was an announcement I saw today with a preview of a new show coming to Prime in December. It's a new animated anthology show that will premiere on Prime December 10th, and it's called Secret Level. And what it is each of the shorts, it's from the creators of Love, Death and Robots.
Right.
Which was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And each of the shorts is based on a video game.
Right. So it's like hey,
Ed. Narochi's on.
Hey, Ed. Good to see you. So yeah, rewatching Rings of Power, and it's much better without expecting it. Okay, good. That sounds really awesome. So like shorts, animated shorts that are based on established video games. That sounds really fucking cool.
Yeah. There's going to be one that's Warhammer. One that's new. The one, some of the things I saw, either the names of or clips from. Yes, that's what I'm talking about, Ed. There's a Warhammer 40K episode for it. That's what I was talking. That's actually where I saw it, was in my Warhammer 40K email. But there's New World, Eternum, Armored Core, Sifu, Dungeons and Dragons, Pac-Man, Honor of Kings, God of War, Mega Man. I saw all of those either named or showing in one of the clips. Very cool. And there's a bunch of others that I'm like, I that looks familiar, but I don't know what it is. So yeah, it looks like it could be really fucking good, and the animation looks amazing. So, and it looks like it's going to be all different animation styles based on which one kind of like Love, Death and Robots was.
Awesome.
So I think it's going to be really cool. But yeah, again, December 10th, so just a few months.
Badassery.
And I know you haven't watched it yet, but I did finish the Umbrella Academy's final season. Mm-hmm. Renee and I watched the whole thing over the weekend because, one, it was fan-fucking-tastic, and two, it's only 6 episodes, which we were bummed about.
Short. Yeah.
We were like, wait a minute, it's only we got to episode 4 and it said only 2 episodes left, and we went, what? So yeah, CD, we finished it in one weekend. But yeah, absolutely incredible, really good, very entertaining. So yeah.
I heard it was kind of a dark ending. Would you call it that? A darker ending?
Well, I mean, it's not really a happy show, so
right.
I'm not going to say anything about the ending though. Ojibo said just found out that Prime has a whole channel of D&D shows before he left for vacation.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
They are. Let me see here. Prime. Shit. How do I get to the? Hang on. But yeah, it's where was that shit? Oh, Prime Video. Here it is. Yeah, there's a bunch of D&D shows. Why am I not signed into any of my fucking stuff? and they're basically people either talking about D&D or playing them on some level. I remember seeing like Matt Lillard doing a show, and he's talking about D&D while he cooks with like these people and talking about his alcohol that he has. He's got a spirits company that he has created.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, and it seems pretty cool. So yeah, like there's some ones where he's playing D&D with some other celebrities that are, down, that kind of thing. Hang on. Let's see if I can find that.
Is that the Dungeon Cooking Show on Netflix?
Yeah, it was weird. Oh, there's that Jackpot movie is with Aquafina and John Cena. That looks like a pretty funny show. Yeah, bunch of
the channel is called Dungeons and Dragons Adventures. Faster Purple Worm Kill is hilarious.
That's it. Yeah. Faster Purple. Was it Faster Purple Worm?
Yeah, Faster Purple Worm Kill.
Kill. And what they do is a lot of them are one shots where they do like a short. Well, that's weird. It didn't come up. But it seemed like there are a lot of like one shots and a lot of like, all right, we're gonna do a one shot, but it's gonna be really. We're gonna put the characters in some really weird like situations, and or we're gonna tweak the rules a little bit, that kind of thing. So I think I followed it. I can't remember where how to get there though.
But anyway, yeah. So that I'm looking forward to that. And Umbrella Academy was really good. So yeah, definitely check it out, Russ. You need to.
Oh yeah, I will. I just got to finish the previous season first, and then we'll get to it. What was the name of that the show, the video game show again?
It's a Secret Level. Yeah. You should definitely check out the trailer for that later. I say later because not now.
Yeah.
So we've got enough time. It's been about an hour. So we got about half an hour, 45 minutes to go over the couple things that we wanted to talk about. Which I think if we do it now, then if we have some extra time, we can talk about some other stuff at the end. But well, one thing too, I want to bring this up now. We hit. Faster Purple Worm is all first level characters up against some massive CR 20+ monster.
Okay.
no real rule changes. Otherwise, the idea is no one survives. They usually write their own tombstones at the end.
Okay.
But this weekend, we had a really good show on Friday. Our D&D show. Show, because talking about D&D shows, we had a really good one. We had some new people on. And we hit 99 followers. We are only one follower away, folks. So if you can't get the word out to your friends, follow us. Yeah. So we're so close to our goal.
So close, dude.
Of course, then we're gonna have to change the goal, but it's gonna be a constantly moving goalpost. But we're getting there. So the couple things I wanted to talk about. We'll talk about this one first. We'll save Deadpool and Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing we were going to talk about was the new Batman the Caped Crusader show.
Right.
Because both of us have finished it.
Right.
Just general, without getting into anything, overall thoughts on it. What'd you think?
Overall, I enjoyed it a great deal. I thought, as a fan of, now I will admit, and I've always said this, I am an easy audience for superhero stuff. But taking it as a whole, I was like, I thought it was pretty solid. I do have some issues.
Yeah, well, we're not going to get into that yet. I just want,
no.
I don't want details. I just want overall. No. So
I thought it was, I enjoyed it, and largely because, I thought it was a really good glow up, a good growing up of the original show from the 90s,
so,
because it was the same people.
I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely like Batman Year One.
Mm-hmm.
He's just starting out doing this. Um, it was overall very entertaining. I enjoyed most of it. I do have issues with some things, but which we'll get into in a minute. But the overall the aesthetics of it, I thought were
Yeah.
fantastic. The look and feel, the grittiness, the noir. It's very 40s feel with modern day social norms.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And
Yet at
it's
the
very
same time,
modern attitudes with and speech patterns and things with a 40s look and feel.
yeah, the technology that Batman expressed too was also very like still part of the 1940s within some reason. I mean, he had some gadgets. I mean, he still had his grapple gun, and he wasn't like swinging a thing and hey, I'm gonna, he had the grapple gun that got him around a little bit more, which would have probably been one of the most advanced technological things. And his car was also the Batmobile. But those were the only things that was like that stood out. His design, the Batman's design, he had the shorter gloves, which is something very similar to the original, like the early Batman. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed the aesthetics of the
And the animation was good.
Oh, the animation was beautiful. I mean, it was extremely well done. It was, see, that's the thing. Like, if you watch the original, like the cartoons from the early '90s that Paul Dini and Bruce Timm did, if you watch the first like 2 or 3 episodes, which was essentially the pilot, the animation's a little rough. Like, maybe they didn't have as much of a budget. But then after you get past that pilot, the first, like I said, like 2 or 3 episodes, I think it's just the first 2 episodes. The animation dramatically improved.
Mm-hmm.
Like definitely more frames per second. The art was stronger. The shadow, like the levels of shadow and highlighting and shadowing was a lot better. So this started off in that level. Really great. They had got some great guest stars. It's well acted too. It's well written.
Yes, it is.
Well acted. They got some great guest stars. Minnie Driver actually was the voice of the Penguin in the first episode.
So that's one of the things I want to talk about. So I don't like the gender swap of Penguin.
I didn't care for it myself.
Now, we talked about this actually a while back, a few weeks ago. But yeah, and we both agreed. Things like racial shift for Jim and Barbara Gordon, not a big deal. Didn't really care.
Mm-hmm.
Gender swap for Penguin didn't make sense. If there was a problem with representation in the comics or in the storylines of Batman, I could see that. Now, if they just wanted to put another female villain in there because, I mean,
I actually read that Bruce Timm, or basically one of the main producers, basically felt that there weren't enough female villains. You got for Batman. You basically, and I disagree, because I mean,
I do too.
Like, you got Catwoman, you got Poison Ivy.
Poison Ivy is such a powerful villain too. She's
right, one of the few with true superpowers.
Yeah.
And then you also got Harley Quinn. So you got those three there, but then you also got, and Catwoman really isn't so much a villain as
Talia al Ghul.
Talia al Ghul, right? At this point, she is still kind of a villain, but there's always been that, that flirtation that Catwoman had, and shit. Eventually, in the comics, Batman and Catwoman almost got married, and then I thought they did
get married.
In the current continuity, they are not married. They almost got married. But then in
because they have the daughter, the Huntress.
Well, yeah, but that's later. She's in the future. They're not married. They're not together at the moment. That whole, and that's an alternate. That's a possible future. Although the Huntress is currently from the future, is currently in the past, and she is in current continuity. The Huntress has also been other women in the past too, where they weren't related to Batman at all. But the original Huntress was the daughter of Batman and Catwoman from Earth 2. That was the original from the pre-crisis stuff. So there are villains. There are female villains. and for some reason they're like, you know what? Let's make the Penguin, a woman.
And
now,
we're gonna make her fucking evil.
evil. And
Like,
I mean,
Joker level evil.
the Batman's villains have always been, are not.
A lot of them are the cackling villains.
They're nasty, but and the Penguin has, depending on who writes him and which era he's been in, he's gone from either being like a cackling villain, to being a mob boss, to being, which is kind of the way they skew him now in most of the comics and in the various movies and shows and stuff. He's a mobster. He's the guy with that runs a club, the Iceberg Lounge or whatever.
A floating club.
This time it was on a ship.
Yeah, a yacht.
On a yacht. In years past, before, it's just a club in Gotham City that's cold themed. Now, but he's always been, one of the bigger things was, yes, he came from a rich family. One of the Cobblepots are one of the oldest families, rivaling the Waynes in Gotham, and he was basically born with some form of birth defect. Yeah, basically. Sometimes he looks like he's got a birth defect, like he's got a big pointed nose, and they've been shown where he's got flippers and stuff like that. More often than not, though, they just lean into the fact that he is short, squat, fat, and ugly, and not so much monstrous. It depends, though, on who's writing and whatnot. This, they made her a tall, almost Amazonian, brassy, burlesque, singing and dancing, like
cabaret singer,
brassy, cabaret singer. Speaking of, like, and earlier when I was talking about, like, the kinds of humor that we don't see at the Renaissance Festival anymore, that she would have been one of those, brassy female characters that would tell, naughty jokes to the audience. Or if you do see that at the Ren Fair, it's in an adults only show, So I think it skewed a little further away from the Penguin that I would have liked. If they had made her a female, a woman, but still made her repugnant, at least physically, I would have been like, okay. But instead,
I just didn't see a reason for it. It didn't further the story at all. It wasn't. If it's important to the story, or if it changes the story and makes for a better story, then okay, I can kind of get behind doing things like that. But in this case, I didn't see a reason to.
Yeah.
The other a couple of the other things I didn't care for. I did not like the portrayal of Harley Quinn.
Okay.
I also hate that they introduced. I don't mind that they introduced Harleen Quinn, but I hate that they introduced Harley Quinn before the Joker.
Correct. I was actually a little weirded out about that myself. Now, first of all, they also did a racial shift on her that made her Asian, which not a big deal, but just notable. And they also established too that immediately that she's gay.
Well, and here's the thing. So here's another thing I noticed, and Renee was like, well, maybe that's not it. But I actually watched the show. There are only 2 women that they draw larger, and it's the 2 gay women.
Yeah, isn't that kind of it's a little?
I noticed that. I'm like, they both have the same body style. They're bigger girls.
They're thicker girls.
Yeah,
right.
and I'm like, and I started watching, and I'm like, it's only them that they draw that way.
So Renee Montoya and Harley Quinn. Not like chubby or anything, but they're just like they're
definitely a different body style than everyone. I'm like, is that supposed to be?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think that. I'm like, that's one. I'm like, why?
You could also lean into the idea that they're both very physical women, so maybe they, they're stronger, they work out, whatever. I mean, she is a cop, and Harley is, what she is. But yeah, I did find that to be. I noticed that too, and I did find that to be a little weird. But yeah, I didn't like that. My biggest issue with Harley Quinn is I didn't like the color shift. Like
I didn't like that either.
They changed her costume from being the red and white and black to being a gold and white and black, and yellowy golden. I was like, I did like that they established that more about her being a psychiatrist, and she was using her knowledge and abilities as a very high-end psychiatrist with conditioning and probably some hypnosis and whatever to manipulate and whatnot. And I also did like the fact that they made her more of a vigilante and less of a villain. So it should be interesting to see how that plays out when they do introduce the Joker
next season.
Next season, and if there is any, if they establish any connection between the two. So yeah, that was I did find it to be very interesting that we had the first season of Batman without the Joker. Now there was a tease in the final episode.
Yep. Well, and I think that goes with the fact that this is early career Batman.
Right. And Batman, it's true, the Joker didn't show up right away. He was, maybe a little bit down the road, but still relatively soon. So
well, it's kind of like, it's like the Nolan Batmans. Joker wasn't in the first one, but he was teased at the end of the first one.
Right. I did also like his I did like the portrayal of Harvey Dent. I thought that was one of the strongest parts of the show, because it established Harvey at the beginning as the crusading DA.
Get past the first episode, guys, and it's actually a really good show. Except for a couple of little things, it's actually a very good show.
Yeah, really. I mean, there are definitely...
The first episode's probably the worst.
I would agree, actually. I'd say, yeah, the first episode is probably the weakest. But once you get past that, we really see some really cool stuff. But I do like how they really built up a lot. They did a lot of work to building up Harvey, showing him as this this DA that's a little crooked, that's a little he's very he's not so much crooked, he's crooked, but he still struggles with that crookedness. He really
winds up being crooked because he wants to become mayor.
He wants to be mayor so bad. And I think part of that is because he does really want to serve the city, but he wants to be the mayor. He wants to be the mayor to do that. And he's willing to make compromises that other people aren't willing to make. And, and then he finally does at one point, say, fuck you to the mobsters and become scarred. And then you get to see, I like that they showed that he was struggling with his mental health, but it wasn't like a straight up complete and total dual identity, because sometimes he's depicted as, like having truly two different identities, when it's really more of a combination of two sides that are constantly kind of warring with each other. And it's more like it's just a really conflicted person in this one. And I liked how they actually depicted the scarring too. It wasn't like in Batman the Animated Series where it's all gray and purple.
No, it was much more like Nolan's take.
Exactly. A lot more realistic in the way it was. And on top of the fact that, shit, they got no problem killing off characters in this show too. So I don't know how much we want to spoil, but
so let's not spoil a lot, because it's only been out for a couple weeks, but
but they really, it's a very adult take on this thing.
One of the other things I didn't care for was Bruce's treatment of Alfred.
I agree.
He treated him very much like a lesser person.
More
of a servant, and he called him Pennyworth throughout the entire thing until the end. But I'm like, he's not treating him like a father that Alfred was to him.
Right, exactly. And I also think that this is something that, and I did like the fact that he eventually does call him Alfred, and it was like a growth point. It was,
and I think we're going to see a softer, a more friendly interaction with him. But he was just so cold to him throughout the entire thing.
At one point, why are you wasting my time?
Yeah.
And And so yeah, I thought it was interesting they went with a whole different design on Alfred too.
Yeah.
'Cause originally Alfred was depicted as short and heavy set, and he was kind of bumbling. And then they shifted it into more of a a slimmer version that was very competent.
Now he's like secret agent Alfred and stuff in
Yeah,
the way they're
yeah.
depicting him in the storylines.
I did like
Have you, by the way, have you watched Pennyworth on
no,
HBO?
I didn't watch that. No.
I'm like still in the middle of season 1, I think, but it's an interesting show.
Well, I heard it was kind of cool. Yeah. I also did like find it interesting they went into the episode with Gentleman Ghost with Jim Craddock.
Oh,
And that whole thing was interesting because the villain, the Gentleman Ghost, was always a Hawkman villain. He was more so known for plaguing Hawkman,
Oh.
and not Batman. So that was an interesting shift there as well.
one of my favorite episodes, I think, was the Catwoman episode. I thought that was really well done.
It was Christina Ricci doing the
Yep.
voice, which I
Thought she was great.
great. It also established, again, not so much of a well, they changed her though too. She was a socialite whose father, a spoiled kind of rich socialite, whose father like went to jail and all of his money got taken away. So it kind of left her destitute. So she started stealing.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be interesting to see in future episodes where maybe they establish maybe some more of her background, where she got the skills that she developed, but it also showed like how she really was having a good time with it. This was fun for her. It was thrill seeking and stuff. I also liked, comparatively, she treated her maid in a very similar way that Batman treated Alfred, but just Alfred cared more, and because she gets kind of screwed by her maid at the end, which was funny. But I also love the design that they went back to that original early Catwoman design, costume design, where she had like the skirt with the slit up to her hip and was driving around in a Catmobile and still had the whip, but less like cat burglar, scaling the roofs, and more just straight up, villain, so that I thought that was interesting. But
yeah, overall, I thought it was a well done.
I think it's very well done, and I do look forward to seeing
it.
I think Max fucked up by putting that show on Prime instead of putting it on Max, where all of the other shows are.
Mm-hmm. Also, I saw that one of the executive producers is J.J. Abrams.
I think, you know what? I think I did see that too. You're just reminding me. Yeah. Cool.
So Narochi said, so the Black Cat was a riff on Catwoman, who is now a riff on Black Cat.
Correct. Yes, that's actually quite true. Yeah, the Black Cat really was kind of
circle.
Marvel. Well, Marvel creates a character, DC will eventually create a character for it, or vice versa. There will be some sort of version. I mean, Deadpool was essentially a joke version of Deathstroke the Terminator.
Catception.
There's a lot of characters like that.
Yeah, the speaking of Black Cat, actually, I just saw a thing earlier. I guess there's and I won't take this until I actually see it, but supposedly there's talk that they're gonna cast Sydney Sweeney as Black Cat in the next Spider-Man.
She was in Madam
Web. I know,
as one of the Spider Women. She was Julia. I think she was Julia Carpenter, the Spider Woman that was established in the Secret War.
That's why I don't think that they're gonna do that.
They're not gonna do that. And on top of it too, she might. I think she didn't have the best time playing it, being in a superhero movie. Sydney Sweeney steps back from that kind of thing until she gets a juicier role. Now she would be perfect for the Black Cat. You need a beautiful curvy blonde, or someone. But there's a lot. I'm sure there's other actors out there that speaking of DC and stuff and animation, though, there was also announced that the Watchmen animated Chapter 1 is now available on digital. So you can watch that on digital now. I don't believe it is on Max just yet, but it is available for VOD and will be available on for purchase on Amazon soon in a little
I
while.
will not buy it digitally.
No, me neither. Me neither. I don't buy anything digitally. Like well, that's not true. I do have.
You got to buy fucking video games digitally now. It's the only way they fucking sell them.
That's not true. I still buy all of my video games on my computer, yeah, but all of my games on.
I was gonna say I don't even have an optical drive on my computer anymore.
I do still have a DVD ROM DVD writer and reader writer. I can't remember the last time I used it. I think I ripped a CD recently, and
Shit, I don't even listen to CDs anymore. It's all digital music.
It was a CD that I got from one of my friends at festival. So, yeah. So there's that.
I stream music now. That's pretty much all I do.
Yeah, if one of my friends is selling a CD, I might.
Well, yeah, like if it's like Stone Clover or somebody like that, I will definitely be buying it. But
with when it comes to video games, if I can still buy the disc for it for my PS5, I will still buy the disc.
See you, CD.
See you later, buddy.
Oh, he has yet to see Deadpool, so maybe it's a good thing that you're heading out.
Yeah, for sure. The Watchmen Chapter 1 will be coming to Blu-ray and digital next week, August 27th. So you'll be able to get it that way.
Hob the Troll or Tartanic. I have not bought Tartanic CDs. I know Renee has some. And actually one of the ones I want is Wakefire. I don't have any Wakefire stuff. And I know I think they just put out their third one or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. They do. Their new one. They put out a new one. So yeah, Watchmen, animated Watchmen. I'll be piecing out too. I haven't seen it. Okay, but Ed, we'll see you later.
I'll be piecing out before that discussion. Also haven't seen it. Yeah, so if you haven't seen it and you've avoided spoilers, good on you.
Good on you, man.
Because they are everywhere now. I mean, and that's the thing. I figure it's been 3 weeks now since the movie came out.
I think we're pushing 4 now.
What's that?
I think we're pushing 4.
I thought it was 3, but anyway, 3, 4, somewhere in there. But still, it's honestly, Russ likely spoiled parts already, but now I'm out. No. See you, CD.
No, but I am going to, so eat it.
Yeah, so you want to get into that? And
yeah, let's get into it, dude. And then
we got a few minutes. So spoilers coming up. So if you haven't watched it and you don't want to know about Deadpool and Wolverine, you don't want the spoilers, then come back and watch the rest of this episode on YouTube once it's up there, or listen to it on your favorite streaming service later.
Right.
Once you have.
All right.
But yeah, so we're going to spoil things out. So get out now. Right. Thanks, Ojipo.
Chris and I went and saw it the night on Thursday.
Opening night.
And it was some of the most fun I've had the movies in quite a long time. I mean, it opened with him digging up Logan, the body of Logan, and then proceeding to kill a bunch of TVA agents with the skeleton. He basically, I found this to be really interesting too, because he's using the time machine that he has and to Cable's time machine that he got it to be.
Well, he was
to traverse the multiverse. And I found that to be very interesting, because a lot of times they make there's a lot of separation between the idea of the multiverse and different time streams, and that in Marvel they've kind of combined them so that you can access the multiverse through the time stream, I guess. And and that he is still on a different universe. His universe, the universe that all the X-Men movies are in a different universe than the main Marvel universe, that the MCU universe.
Yeah. Which
And
he
so
goes to
Yep.
apply to be an Avenger.
to be an Avenger. He really wanted to be an Avenger.
And he
it's funny
interviews
because-
with Happy Hogan.
Yeah, and I guess he interviewed with them like there. I've seen places like lay out when all of these things happened. You know, the various different things happened, and he meets up with Happy. I think it was after. Age of Ultron. I think, but I can't be.
You bring the
sure.
car around.
Yeah.
He just keeps making references to him being the chauffeur.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, the thing about this movie is there were just so many pop culture references that were just unfucking-lievable.
Well, and just so many references, so many cameos. Like when he gets grabbed, he's hating his life. He wants to be an Avenger. And he's still got all his friends, and they're celebrating his birthday, and the TVA shows up, and there's one guy in the TVA when they show up there, and he's like, and he does and I want solid eye contact, not you back there. I can't see your eyes. Renee's pretty sure that was Rob McElhenney, because Rob McElhenney was a TVA agent in the movie.
Yeah, I heard his scene got cut, but I don't know. And yeah, he was like, I am no stranger to pegging, but
this isn't my pegging's not new to me,
Disney.
But it is to Disney.
Yeah. I loved some of the references that they were making about that just like he breaks the fourth wall all the time, and it's really hilarious.
And it's so casual in this one. I mean, like even more so than the other ones.
And quite often, like, you can tell that the other characters have no idea what he's talking about, but he rattles them off so quickly they just kind of go, whatever, dude, let's move on. Wolverine.
But yeah, so he winds up going to the TVA and meets this guy that's in charge. Is in charge of this particular project.
Yeah,
and he winds up what was it? He winds up like pissing him off, or no, he has to go look. He goes looking for the Wolverine, or
yeah. Well, basically, he finds out that his universe is dying.
Yeah, it's dying. Yeah,
because an anchor being.
Yes, that's what it was.
Oh wow, I'm an anchor being, and he starts laughing. Oh God, no! You think you're an anchor being? Oh my God! And
as if, can you imagine?
Yeah, he finds out that the anchor being is Logan, and in the future of his universe, Logan is dead, has died. So he figures out he goes, and he doesn't want all of his friends and his family and just the people that he loves to die. So he grabs basically one of the time pads.
The time pads. Yep.
And then proceeds to travel around the multiverse looking for a replacement Wolverine for that universe.
The first one he finds is so goddamn funny.
Oh my God.
Because it's the classic comic book Wolverine.
Who's like 5'3".
Yep.
And he's
in a bar.
Yep. He's sitting at a bar, and it's just like, and at first he's like, wow, yeah, you look, you look great. It's like, and he hops down off of the
stool.
And they basically put Hugh Jackman's face on, somebody else's body. But it was just, holy shit, that was so funny. And he's like, who's
little Wolverine?
And that was the other thing. That was one of the coolest parts for me was that whole scene, because those scenes where he's traveling around the multiverse looking for a replacement Wolverine, because you're getting all of these variations. There was the Wolverine from Age of Apocalypse, which was killing, basically stabbed the shit out of him. You had Old Man Logan, where they just shot him sitting
Yeah.
on a on the
porch.
and then just shot him with a shotgun. You had Patch Logan when he was in Madripoor, and it was his identity in Madripoor where he's wearing an eye patch, and that was it. You know, it was his disguise. And they were all they were all Hugh Jackman until he encounters Cavalrine.
Yeah, the guy working on a motorcycle, and he's all buff and just revving a motorcycle, and you only see him from behind. He's smoking a cigar, and he walks up. He's like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah. It was great. We're gonna treat this is so great. This is perfect.
Yeah, he just starts whipping his ass.
Yeah. Well, that's it goes. We're gonna treat you way better than the guys down the street.
And those assholes down the street. Yeah. Come on, come on. You will treat you way better than those assholes down the street. And he kicks him through the time portal.
Yeah. And that was the other thing too. It was like, oh man, he was really strong. Like he extra kicked his ass, you know. That was really funny. Like I said, man, I had such a
Jeepo said he heard Cavill got sick from the cigar smoke.
That wouldn't surprise me. Anybody that smoked a cigar that's not used to smoking a cigar, well, it could certainly nauseate you. But yeah, dude, it was goddamn, that was hilarious. And then he stumbles upon a Wolverine sitting in a bar drinking his sorrows away, which is very appropriate. He finds the worst Wolverine, as he found, who basically walked away from his friends, and when he walked away from his friends, they all died, and it was pretty fucking horrible. But I think so then, you know, of course, we don't want to spoil too much, but of course they, you know, Deadpool basically
hijinks ensue,
right? And they eventually end up getting deleted or whatever it is,
pruned.
Pruned, like they do, and they're sent to the void, where all of their garbage goes.
Yeah, and you see in the first scene, you see the old Cap shield. That's the actual like shield shape, not the round.
The kite shield.
The kite shield. You see Thor's hammer, or no, Thor's helmet.
His helmet.
And then when they start fighting, Deadpool gets knocked back, and when he stands up, there's a 20th Century Fox logo half buried in the ground behind him.
Oh my God. Yeah. Some of those, they're so on the nose. Yeah, and that was the other thing too. Like the combat was so great between these characters. You know, the choreographed combat was so fucking good.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to go through the entire movie, but yeah, like a lot of the combat, like when they're fighting in the fucking Honda Odyssey.
Oh my God,
I was wrong. The Honda Odyssey fucks.
Yeah. It was really good. I mean, we got to go into the now people have heard about all these cameos now. We should definitely
when they're in the void,
right? He
winds up meeting this one character out there as there's a whole group approaching, and he jumps down, and it's Chris Evans.
Right. And they even did say, I mean, he's got like his armbands are red, and there's like these wrappings, and
he's got white wrappings on his hands,
and he's wearing like a cloak, and he does a very superhero landing, and he pulls the hood back, and you're like, holy shit, that's Chris Evans. And I mean, you and I looked at each other like, oh crap, you know, we didn't expect that, and they kept that one real quiet.
Yeah, and he starts talking about, you know, Cap and all this stuff, and he gets all excited.
Yeah,
and when the bad guys show up, he's like, "Are you ready?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm ready." He's like, and he what was he said something, but it led up. It was like Cap saying, but it was that he's like flame on, and he turns into the Human Torch and flies off.
We were expecting him to be Cap, and he's fucking Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four movies, which is appropriate.
Yep.
You know,
which I thought was fucking hilarious.
Oh, it was so hilarious, and I mean the whole
because which one would have wound up there? Johnny Storm, because that's the thing. That I thought was a great idea.
Oh, absolutely.
Was that all these characters from previous movies from before the MCU wind up there, because we get later we get Elektra and Blade
Blade was a big surprise. A lot of people, nobody knew that. I mean, like Jennifer Garner had been spoiled, and what's her name? That played X-23. She's
Yeah.
in the trailer.
Yeah.
So people were like, "Oh man, okay." Nobody knew Blade was coming on board, man.
Yeah, because X-23 was there, and then so was Gambit, who
Yeah.
never had his movie, and there's all sorts of jokes about that.
Right. Yeah. And that was another one that was really like good, kept real quiet. It was uh
Channing
Tatum, who has been trying to get, and they announced that they were going to make this movie years ago, and he'd been trying for 10 years to get that movie made. They had announced it that they were going to make it, and alongside like movies like Deadpool and other X-Men movies, but then Marvel bought Fox, basically he said that Channing Tatum even had a conversation with Kevin Feige, and he's like, I would love to make this movie, but I just don't know how we're gonna be able to do it with the way the movies are set up right now. And we get to see Channing Tatum as Gambit, and he did great.
He was all right. I don't think he's got the right look for Gambit.
I think I agree. I think Gambit needs to be leaner, like longer and leaner, taller and leaner. But
his face is too round for and in Gambit's headpiece, it looked really round.
Yeah, it exactly, because it kind of
it accentuated that roundness.
But the choreography was great. The way the powers looked, even his accent was all right. This was very Gambit out of the cartoon is what it was. It was Gambit out of the X-Men cartoon. And that was, I think that was the Gambit he wanted to play. But it was there were so many jokes that were just really great.
Shoot up my dad's dick.
What's that?
Shoot up my dad's dick.
Yeah. I think probably one of my favorite lines though out of that whole like scene. I mean, Jennifer Garner was great again as Elektra. She I guess she busted her ass to get back to get into like, Elektra shape, not that she was in bad shape, but just to she got back into the fighting weight kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think one of my favorites was still when
Deadpool's
like says as Blade, this motherfucker's still trying to ice skate uphill. And I'm just
that
like,
one, yeah.
One of the dumbest, most ridiculous lines in the movie in Blade, and he fucking like revisits it. I'm like, Jesus Christ, that was awesome.
That one and when Deadpool says something, so Daredevil too, is like, no, he's dead. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, and like, Elektra goes, it's all right.
Yeah, I mean that was hilarious, man.
And I guess they didn't. Nobody warned Ben Affleck that joke was in.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing because I mean, Gardner not only played Elektra, Daredevil's girlfriend, but she was married to Ben Affleck for years.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was really.
They have a daughter.
Fun. Yeah. In fact, actually, in the news, Ben Affleck and J-Lo filed for divorce after 2 years.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, there's just some really, really great stuff and great lines, and it was hilariously well done. And I also like the fact that they didn't they did establish that the X-Men, that the X-Men universe is definitely a part of this Marvel Cinematic Universe, but they aren't on the same Earth. They aren't on the same timeline. So I'm guessing that eventually we will see.
They pretty much established that with Multiverse of Madness, when Professor Xavier showed up.
Yeah, but even so, like this is definitely a thing, and but then I think it establishes even further that we're going to see Secret War. Secret War is going to be where they come together, where all of the universes
probably
universes come together.
So in that same thing though, when they're in the Void, which is actually where most of the movie takes place, is in the Void.
Oh, yeah, good portion of it. Yeah.
That's where we get the true villain of the film, Cassandra Nova, Charles Xavier's sister.
Right. She was a sister.
Yes, you're right, Ojipo. The Paul Rudd getting old joke was funny.
Oh,
I guess Paul Rudd did age.
Yeah.
Because Cassandra's base is the skeleton and suit of Giant Man.
Yeah. It was fucking crazy sauce. Yeah, Cassandra Nova was an interesting choice too.
Yeah,
because
she
is a
creepy fucking long fingers too.
Well, they put extenders on her fingers, and the power signature too was pretty wild because she was like an Omega level telekinetic that with a blink she can convert you to your component molecules basically. And but
she
was also
kind of did to poor Johnny.
Right. She was a telepath, but she had to come in contact with you. And so there it showed her like basically like putting her fingers in people's heads and stuff. And at first I was like trying to say, okay, now is that like just how they're perceiving it? Or is she really like kind of going, whoa, because at one point she does drag the one guy, that one Paradox guy by his head, basically.
Yeah.
She was an interesting choice because I mean she was a part of the Marvel universe where it was essentially Charles Xavier has had sentience since he was like a fetus, and sensed that his twin sister in the womb was evil, and so basically tried to kill her in utero. And I believe, if I remember correctly, she used used her abilities to escape that situation. I can't remember. It was a very weird thing. Let me see if I can find some detail.
We don't need to know, Russ. We don't need the background.
Right. I'm for my own fucking.
We don't need to go down the rabbit hole. We're already at an hour and 47 minutes. So
okay. Well, anyway, it was an interesting choice for her because she was, she hasn't been prominently featured in a long time.
But along with her in her gang, we got Sabretooth, we got Toad, we got Juggernaut. Now, not all of them played by the same people. Ray Park wasn't back as Toad, and Juggernaut was somebody different.
Although we did have this original actor come back and play Sabretooth for that initial scene.
Yeah, that was the wrestler.
Tyler Mane.
Tyler Mane. Pyro. Yep, we had Pyro back. That was another one. But yeah, that was good. Now, the other thing though is, so there's all this fighting, but then one of the things that comes up is that we also find out that every world has a Deadpool.
Right. That was pretty awesome.
And you wind up with the Deadpool Corps, which
and every Deadpool also has
a Peter, but we don't find that out till later. But that Peter's the real hero. But yeah, and that's where we get a bunch of cameos too of people that you don't see in the masks. Blake Lively is Lady Deadpool. You get
Nathan Fillion was
Nathan Fillion was the voice of Headpool. You get Ryan Reynolds playing Nice Pool, which I guess Renee was saying that what they said, they missed an opportunity. They should have gotten I think it's Ryan Gosling to play Nice Pool.
That would have been hilarious.
Because people always talk about that he's the nicer Ryan in Hollywood.
Yeah, that's funny.
And
although I've always heard Ryan Reynolds is still a nice guy.
But I guess that's the joke, is that Ryan Gosling, I guess people have gotten him confused, and Ryan Gosling is considered the nicer Ryan. So I think that would have been funny for him to be nice.
I think he's old enough now that we can call him Ryan Goose. It's just
yeah. So but what I thought was funny with Nice Pool was that he was so obviously Canadian.
Oh yeah. That was hilarious. Sorry. We also had Dog Pool.
It
was, Nice Pool's dog.
Yep. So Welsh Pool was Paul Mullins from the Wrexham soccer team. Another one of the Wrexham players, Ali's name I'm forgetting right now. He's in one of the bar scenes, in like the bar fight scene. There's a couple others that were in there that what was it? Wasn't it was it McConaughey?
McConaughey was the cowboy pool.
Cowboy pool. I mean, there were all sorts of people that were in the Deadpool costumes. Which I just thought was hilarious. And then the whole thing with Deadpool wanting Dogpool and keeping trying to there was a samurai. Yeah, there was a samurai. Ojiba said my only question was there was a samurai. But yeah, so the whole thing with Nice Pool where he grabs him and uses him as a shield, I thought was so fucking funny. And in the big fight scene with the Deadpool core, and he's like, "Come on, start regenerating." He's like, "What?" And he spits blood. And he's like,
"What's regenerating?"
Yeah, what's regenerating?
I didn't think I'm hit. Yeah. Because that was the thing, you could see that his uniform was body armor. He had body armor on his uniform.
And during that fight, they get blown back into a Leaf Fields foot shop.
Oh man, that was so funny. But that's the other thing too. Then you see, eventually you see they fight. All these Deadpools show up. And then they're like, well, I guess we're fighting now. And so Deadpool and Wolverine, like, basically just kind of
they walk up, and as they're about to start fighting, they're standing there, and he looks at him, and Hugh Jackman reaches back, grabs the back of his outfit, and pulls the mask over for the first time in the movie. Right. He's like, has that been there the whole time? Were you just waiting for a dramatic moment to do that?
It was so funny. So yeah, then they fight through a bus, and they're basically stabbing and shooting and stabbing and everything, all this stuff. And then they get through the bus, and they leap through the window, and that was one of the funnier parts too for me, because
slow motion,
obviously, and they were obviously computer generated too. Mm-hmm. It was like with Wolverine just like, and you're just like, what the fuck was that, guys? You didn't want to spend the extra money to, cleaning that up a little bit. But then, I'm like, the entire time they're like stabbing everybody and going through and fighting. I'm just like, wait, aren't they just going to get up and heal? Like,
okay, I think we're good.
And then they turn around, and there they are. They're all getting up, and they're like, oh God, and they're spitting bullets out. And you see, guys that had their limbs lopped off, their limbs are growing back, so they got these little baby arms and shit. And you're like, what the fuck? Okay, that you knew that was going to happen. And then that's when Peter shows up in a Deadpool costume. Yeah. And then they're all like,
that barely fits.
What's that?
That barely fits.
That barely fit, Peter, and they're like, oh, every Deadpool has a Peter, It was just like, oh my God. I love that. That was hilarious. But
Peter.
I loved how it ended, basically, too, that, because we do got to wrap things up.
Yeah.
I did. One of the funniest things too for me was, then of course you one of them is going to try and make this big
sacrifice,
and
they're fighting over it.
And then at first it looks like Deadpool's going to do it, and then he goes to try and do it, and then Wolverine. Was it? Wait a minute. Was it Deadpool first? Wolverine was going to go out and do it, and Deadpool at first was going to let him. But then he was like, nope, and they swapped it out, and so that Deadpool goes out, and basically what they had to do, they had to complete the circuit, whatever, and then it turned out it took two of them to do it, and
because he couldn't reach.
Yeah, couldn't reach. But what was hilarious too was, like, there was an earlier joke in the movie, like, normally he's walking around without his shirt off, or without his shirt on, but he's really let himself go since the divorce.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? I was amazed they made that joke. But then Wolverine's uniform just like shreds, and you just see this amazing physique for a 55-year-old man, and and they complete, and you think they're gonna be dead, but they're not. They come out, but it was just really really fucking hilarious. And I actually heard that too, that scene, particularly the scene where he had to be shirtless like that, he was sick like for at least a day afterwards, because he had to like he essentially
Had to dehydrate himself.
dehydrated himself. He was getting woozy on set because
Anytime you see any man like that, that's what they've had to do it.
Yeah.
And
I mean, they're talking about this. Like, examples of this is one of the things that is leading at where men are finally starting to feel the pinch when it comes to the unattainable or unbelievable unhealthy
body image.
body types that are represented in Hollywood for men. I mean, now they've been doing that to women for years, where women are starving themselves, or they're going on ridiculous diets, or getting plastic surgery and all these things to attain these bodies, and they're seeing the idea, to create these ideal bodies that are beautiful in the men's eyes and stuff. And now we're starting to see the same thing, on the other side for guys, or we have been for a while, but now it is really starting to affect us or whatnot. And that's one of those examples. And one of the reasons why Hugh Jackman made Logan and was like, I'm retiring from playing this character, was because it was getting too damn hard to get back into shape. Chris Hemsworth says a similar kind of thing. Playing Thor is a lot of work because to get into that shape. Now he's already a huge man and he's whatever, but
they're gonna make him do this till he's 90.
Yeah. There's also talk too that that the amount of work that it takes to achieve these muscle bound bodies that these men have it's even harder work and stronger work than what a lot of women have to go through to achieve an equitable kind of image, because the ideal for women isn't necessarily covered in muscle. It's more staying thin and or bigger boobs and bigger whatever. Those kinds of things can often, that's the argument that I was hearing. Some of those things can be achieved through surgery, and yes, women still have to work out, but they don't have to do it quite as intense. It depends on the body type and everything, and I don't know if I completely agree with this, but it was an argument that I heard that these male actors have to put themselves through is even more strenuous than what some women have to do.
Ojipo, several of the Deadpools were not in the comics.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly.
He was just making stuff. Like Welsh Pool is actually there because of Wrexham, his football team. So
anyway,
go see it.
Yeah, go see it. It's unbelievably good, and it's made over $1 billion now. It is the highest grossing R-rated film of all time, and worldwide it's made over $1 billion. So I think Disney should be pretty happy with this one.
Yeah,
I think they're pretty happy. If they're not, they can eat a dick, because that's some bullshit. We should wrap things up, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight. It was a good time, good show. Be sure to check us out next Tuesday at 8:00 for another rousing rendition of conversation between two aging Gen Xers and Gen X nerds. We will not be playing D&D this Friday. We'll be playing it next Friday, which will be the 9th, I believe. I think
the
it's
29th.
29th or the 29th, yes.
Or 30th, sorry.
30th, excuse me. The 30th. At 7:30 at this channel, so be sure to check us out. Our normal Tavern Nights D&D game.
Yeah, good night, Ojipo. And
good night, buddy.
Yeah, you can follow us on most of the social medias. We're on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show, and everywhere else, Drinking Nerds. Just give a search and you'll find us. We do put the episodes up on YouTube. I got to get back to that. I am one episode behind on this. They usually go up about a week or so after the show. They are available on Twitch for 2 weeks. So if you missed something, you can always go back and check it out, including our show from last Friday. is up on Twitch.
Just so you know, I will. I mean, for those of you guys remember coming out, the Renaissance Festival here in Michigan is currently going on. Be sure to swing in if you'd like. You can see me at Dungeons and Dice Bags selling D&D bags or dice bags and D&D dice.
Bags and dice bags accessories.
Well, let me tell you, Bobby, this squeaky wheel gets the greasing. That boy ain't right. We sell dice and dice accessories. It is a cart near the Children's Dell. I will not be there this weekend. I have a gig in Grand Rapids, so I will be taking this weekend to go out to Grand Rapids and be body painting for a big community event out there in Grand Rapids. So otherwise, I will be at the Ren Fair for the foreseeable future. God help me.
All right. Well, I think that's going to about do it.
That should do it.
I'll get the Rogue Blade books. Was a good read. Yeah, Renee's got those.
I have them too.
So, but anyway, yeah. So, So I think that's gonna about do it.
That should do it.
So, until next time.
Until next time.
Sláinte.
Sláinte.
That was okay. All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Good night.